are a
Yes.
lot of school systems that are taking on the work of resiliency and bringing it to staff and bringing it to children and bringing it to families, because it's so important that we understand it, right? I understand that stuff going on in my stomach is my body talking to me and telling me, you know what, you're out of your resilient zone. Now, what do I need to do to get back into that resilience zone, right? And understanding what's happening. It's nothing wrong with me. It's that I've been stressed. It's that I've been triggered.
Yeah, the alarm went off.
The alarm went off. Absolutely. And so when that alarm goes off, right, we go into 3 different places: fight, flight, or freeze. And that's it. But the key is we'll go there, but we don't want to stay there.
Right.
Right?
It's natural to go there.
Absolutely. Absolutely natural.
But the key is trying to get past it.
Trying to get past it.
That's, as Christians, we talk about going through the test.
Yes.
For the testimony.
Yes.
And that's a lot of what it is, trying to figure out how do I get through this situation. The alarm has gone off, so now what?
Yeah.
And I know in a lot of schools, in the school system that I left from, they had started doing social emotional learning.
Yes.
As a part of the curriculum.
Yes.
So I think, I wasn't there long enough to see any outcome results, but I'm sure that has been helpful.
Yes.
For at least kids in school. But we have a lot of adults, their only way of dealing with issues is not to talk about it.
Right.
Because it's such a stigma to go get some mental health counseling. And sometimes we just do. We need that extra objective person to help us walk through it so that we can, get back on that even level that you have.
Yeah, yeah. And just like with our physical health, right? When something is not right, we're going to the doctor. After a while, right there, we done took a Tylenol, we done took a Motrin,
and I still
right?
got
We
a
done took a
headache.
Malox, and nothing working. So now we're going to go to the doctor, right? So it's the same thing with our mental health, right? Because we have mental health needs. We are emotional beings. We were made that way. We were created after the image of God. God is an emotional God.
Yes.
And we too are emotional. And when our emotions are not in balance, we need to tend to them. We need to get the help that we need. And that is what's called mental health. And you are so right. There's been such a stigma in our communities around getting mental health. So I just want to say you're not crazy, right? Those words that are used, it's not that. It's that your mental health just needs some attention. So I just encourage everybody. We need to get T-shirts that just advertise that it's okay to get mental health.
Yes,
because it is. It's what will help us all as individuals, as families, as a church community, as a community, just nationwide. If we all attended to our mental health needs, I think there'd be a lot more love flowing and people resting in their souls a lot more than what we see now. See now in the world. So with again, going back to the resiliency, it's almost like you get triggered by something, right? And it throws you out of that resilient zone. It's like pressing on a gas pedal, right? You press on that gas pedal and it's going to either, you keep going fast, it's going to throw you out of your resilient zone, either up or down. So it's learning how to now, the gas, pressing the gas pedal, learning how to pull up off that gas pedal so that you slow down. And you get back into that balance and that resilient zone where you can do the things that you need to do, where you can show up how you need to show up, where we can be who God created us to be.
Yes.
And do the things that God is calling us to do.
Yes.
Right? Because when we're bumped up or down, we don't want to do nothing. We don't want to do those things.
Because it's hard sometimes.
It's hard. Yes. It's hard to show up. It's hard. And it's and I'm just thinking, my mom, go back to the scriptures, thinking of, Matthew 11, where God says, come to me when you're burdened, when you're heavy
laden,
so I can give you that rest.
Yes.
Right? So going back to God, but then, and with that, also responding to the biological piece, the human piece, because there are things that we can do there. So want to talk about that a little bit, right? The building of our resilience. So the building resilience is the capacity for something to return to shape, right? So that returning to shape is us getting back into our resilient zone. So I want to say we're all resilient. We all have the strength of resiliency. Sometimes we don't know what to call it. We don't know what it is. Some people are more resilient than others. I don't have an explanation for that, Tinja. I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to say God gave one talent. He gave another one 2 talents, and I'm going to put it in that bucket, okay?
And sometimes, I do think the way we handle some things are based on what was modeled to us younger.
Absolutely.
If mom got upset about something, she didn't really talk about it. You would just see mom went to her room.
Yes.
So we think if we get upset about something or something is wrong, I should probably just go to my room because that's what Mama did.
Yes.
But we don't know how Mom handled it when she went to her room. We just know we never saw openly Mama handling, traumatic situations.
That's right.
I mean, for some people, like someone may die and you don't see a person crying. So you might think, oh, well, I shouldn't cry because they didn't cry. But on the inside, you are just feeling defeated, destroyed,
Yes.
all over the place.
That's right.
So we have to, get out of, this is what I saw, so this must be right.
Yeah, those are those cultural pieces, right?
Yes.
How we were socialized, the norms in society as well as in our own individual families that can cause us sometimes not to respond to what our body is telling us, right? So again, that's so important that when we feel our body talking, and our body talks through feelings, right? So I know feeling and talking, that might be a little opposite there, but intentionally, right? Because we feel it. And that's our body talking to us. That's it, and sometimes people feel it in their neck, right? They get the tightness in their neck and their muscles all through their body. Get headaches. Some people's vision goes blurry on them. But the key thing is to listen to what your body is telling you.
And I've heard people say, my body was telling me that something was not right.
Yes.
But I ignored it. Sometimes you just get that feeling. Your body will speak to you, as you said. And when we ignore it, then it oftentimes causes more damage.
Yes. Because what happens when we ignore it, right? So we get bumped out of our resilient zone. That's us, something happened.
Something happened.
We got bumped out, right? And we're either hyped up or we're shut down. And ignoring it gets us stuck there. Where those results, right? That irritability, that anger, that hyperness, that depression, we get stuck in that place. And we both know God don't want us stuck there.
Oh, no.
He might allow us to visit, but he does not want us stuck in those places, right? And so that's why, again, we're designed so awesomely.
Yes.
That even in our natural bodies, God has given us the capacity to recognize, okay, something's not right. Something's not right in my body. Now, what do I do about that? Knowing, again, that we all have some level of resiliency. We all have that strength within us. And the good news is that we can continue to strengthen it. We can continue to build it. It's like I'm thinking of like even mowing the grass, right? When people getting ready to mow their grass, spring coming, right? The grass gonna start growing, right? And the more you go over that same spot, it makes a way. It paves a way, right? So now you've got, let's say your whole yard is full of grass and you just keep going back and forth in one spot. You will see that way paved. It's the same thing with resiliency. The more we recognize that we are stressed, that we are bumped out of our resilient zone, that we are out of balance, that we're not thinking clearly, those are all signs that we're bumped out of our resilient zone. And the more we recognize that and then make a correction. Yes. Right? Do something different that gets us back into balance. We're paving another way. We're in our brain, right? So this is the biological piece. So now our brain, that comes into the elasticity of our brain, the plasticity of our brain, that we are able to change. We're able to build and create these new neural pathways. Yes. That then increase our resiliency. So when that thing happens again, then our brain, our memory tells us, no, I shouldn't be scared of that. That shouldn't be a threat to me.
I've been through this before.
Right? And that's what we got to remember, too. If it had not been for the Lord on my side, where would I be? Because God has brought us all through things before, whether it was sickness, healing, needed provision, needed the bills paid, needed some food on our table. Okay, let me look back for a minute, because God did that before. Yes. So I've got to trust and believe he's going to do it again.
Right? So I don't have to stay stuck here.
Don't have to stay stuck. Don't have to stay stuck at all.
Yes. Yeah. So as we move on, there are some things that we can do.
Yeah. So 2 things I want to lift up. So there's several different tools of resiliency that help us to get back into our resilient zone. The 2 I want to highlight today are connection and grounding. Right. Okay. So with connection, one of the tools is just to stay connected to people. Right. So whether that's through your family, your friend group, through the church, through the church community, community groups that you may belong to, stay connected to people. And we know, again, I know we keep vacillating back and forth between spiritual and natural, but you really can't separate the two, right?
They go together.
So we know in the spiritual realm, the enemy don't want nothing better than to isolate us so he could try to beat up on us, right? So from that perspective, we want to make sure we stay connected, right? We want to stay connected to people who can help encourage us, whose shoulders we can stand on when we need a shoulder to stand on. So stay connected, and we do that through our faith community. We do that by just hoping, right? Just hoping in God's word. Stay connected to God's word, not just people, but also to the word of God, and also stay connected to those people who love you. right? Who you love and who love you, because there's just real positive vibes
Right.
that flow there. And I found this quote that I wanted to lift up, and it's by Maya Angelou, right? So she says, "I'm not sure if resilience is ever achieved alone. Experience allows us to learn from example. But if we have someone who loves us, I don't mean who indulges us, but who loves us enough to be on our side, then it's easier to grow resilience." So stay
Yes.
connected to people, to those people who love you. And the other one I wanted to lift up is just a grounding, right? So when you ground, you take that time to just allow yourself to settle, right? Allow your nervous system to settle. Allow it to record in your brain that, you know what, I'm really not in danger right now, right? So to do that, you can do it anywhere, right? You can ground it. You can stop in the middle of the street and stand there and just ground yourself, right? And one of the ways we can do that too is just by breathing, right? We take that time to just inhale and exhale. And it makes me think too about the breath of God, right? How God breathed life into us.
Yes.
We just take those times, those moments to focus on our breath. You breathe in, you breathe out. And you do that several times. And then you rest in that. The breath in and out actually helps to settle our nervous system.
Great.
So practicing that, right? And the other thing is, again, just be still. I think as humans, we got the hardest time just
Yes,
trying to be still,
still.
Tinja.
I know.
Just being still, right? So even as we sit here in these chairs, right? Just real quick, it's just a matter of sitting, recognizing the back of the chair that's supporting you, the seat that's supporting you, your feet flat on the ground that's supporting you. And you give way to that. You just kind of go limp in the chair.
Yes.
And just be still. And it doesn't take a long time.
No, it
Doesn't take
and it will calm your body.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So these are just, again, two of the tools that people can put into their toolbox. That when they recognize, again, sense in, recognize that you've been taken out of your resilient zone or bumped out of your resilient zone, and then take that moment. It might be getting on the phone and calling somebody. Right? That's that connection.
Yes. And connection is so very important, because so many times when we're going through something, when we're being tested, is when we isolate.
Yes.
And that is not good. Once we become isolated, then that gives Satan more time to work on us.
Yes.
To speak to us.
Yes.
To try to guide us in the wrong direction.
Yes.
So having that connection with those that love you and that you love.
That's right.
It's important.
It's important. I always say we need at least one person in our life that we can go to with the ugly truth
about
anything.
and everything.
Any and everything. Yes. Because a lot of times I think what stops us from being authentic, being real with other people, is this sense of I should be this way and I'm not, right? Or I should not respond this way because then they might think a certain thing about me, and I can't have nobody thinking that about me. And I tell you, Tinja, I know I haven't lived as long as some people, but I've lived longer than some people, and I have learned that that stuff is just not important. It's just not important how somebody might put their judgment on me.
And it takes a while for us to get to that point.
Yes.
So, as we continue to talk about being able to bounce back, sometimes it's not something that we can do on our own.
That's right.
So we encourage any of you that are watching the podcast today that if you have some issues going on and you feel like you cannot bounce back, then you should reach out. You should reach out because there are people that care about you, people that love you, people that want to see you get through. And remember, we said in the beginning of the podcast that to be able to get through those difficult situations well.
Yes.
Because when we get through them well, it puts us back in the zone. And that in turn helps us to know that when that next issue comes along, I can handle it.
Yes.
I can handle it because I have some of those tools. I am connected. I know how to ground myself.
Yes.
When I feel like my feet aren't really touching the ground right now. Yeah, I need to, figure out a way to get back,
That's right.
get back down.
That's right.
And that's what it's all about. We will all have challenges.
Yes.
We've gone over several Bible verses and people in the Bible. So this is not anything new. And a lot of times people feel like they're going through and nobody else has had to go through this.
That's right. That's right.
But I assure you that whatever you think you might be going through, somebody else has gone through it. So we thank you for joining this episode today. If you need some help, we're always here, the counseling division of Word Tabernacle Church. You can always reach out to me, tinger.purvis@wordtab.com, Stanley Purvis @wordtab.com, or I just go straight to our counseling email, which is wtccounseling@wordtab.net. Someone will reach back out to you. We have a whole team of counselors. We have coaches. So we want you to know that you don't have to go through this situation alone, that you can bounce back. And we hope that you will use your resources that you have available. So we thank you for joining us today and hope that this episode of being able to bounce back has been a help for you today. Thank you.
Let's just talk for a minute. Let's just share a mystery. Let's share a mystery. Together we can find the answer. Together we can find the truth. Somehow, let's get connected with